and welcome to the sort of final workshop in the sort of Let's Grow programme, although there's still going to be some ongoing support. And welcome back to some of the people from Skye and Lochaber and Cairngorms, because this will be the first workshop we've engaged with you for a wee while. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm just going to get on to the next slide. So I'm just going to give a wee recap of where we got to a couple of weeks ago with Yvonne, and then we've got quite a sort of packed sort of an agenda this afternoon in terms of hearing from sort of where Visit Scotland are with the sort of recent and up-to-date marketing activity. So we're obviously excited to hear from Steve on that. We're also going to just sort of touch a wee bit about the use of data. Stuart's going to do a couple of 5 minutes on that. And we're going to hear from Sarah. Met Sarah a number of years ago when she set up Scott Beer Tours. And it's great to see how she's developed a business over the last 2 or 3 years, even through the pandemic, and has now got a multi-city, fantastic sort of beer tour experience within Glasgow, Aberdeen and Edinburgh. So good to see you again, Sarah. And then we're going to hear from Rona Wallace, who's going to just give us a wee bit more of an overview in terms of just in future engagement with Visit Scotland and the sort of ongoing travel trade support. Because I think, as we mentioned to you through the sort of course of the workshops, a lot of it is about you engaging with the right people within Visit Scotland, getting your content together, getting your notifications on the website, whether it's the travel trade and your listings and things like that. So we'll hear from Rona, and then we'll sort of finish off the sort of formal bit. We'll hear from Angie, who's the Quality Assurance and Engagement Manager. And she's just going to talk about the importance of sort of quality within your experiences. And that's a thing we've been talking about over the sort of course of the programme. And a wee bit about what consumers are looking for in terms of just that reassurance of quality and probably the safety aspect of things as well post-COVID in terms of the way the world has changed. And then I'll just sort of do a wee wrap up in some of the sort of thoughts we've been pulling together in terms of the next steps. So what I'm going to do now, if you have any questions from the group at the moment, I think what we'll do now, I'm going to pass you over to Stuart, who's going to just do a brief overview of using data, and he'll then pass you on to Sarah and talk about her journey with Scott Beers.
Okay, I'm going to just kick off now because I've got a little person to pick up, but thank you for your time. And as I say, if there's any queries, please let me know.
No,
thanks, Steve.
Appreciate that, Steve, and as aware of that. Again, thanks very much.
Cheers.
Really good.
All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to do a very 5 minutes on data and tourism. I think we talked about it at the last workshop, and it's something that we'd intended to do 18 months ago in one of the first workshops because we felt it was really important, and we had Sarah lined up to and we were engaged with her, but because of COVID and everything, all of things got bent out of shape. But I just wanted to sort of set the scene in terms of where we are with data and data in your business. I mean, you are all collecting data anyway. It's the question is, whether that's all sorts of different ways you're collecting that information, whether it's offline or online presence. It's all out there through your website, your social media channels, and your presence is there, and you're collecting data on your customers, their behavior, preferences, experiences, and so on. And actually, relating back to Steve, and he's talking about, the Generation Z and their likes and the way they're looking at different things. So it's really important because it helps. And we've always talked about it from a marketing perspective, and about who's your market, who your audience, where are they coming from, what are you looking to do with them. So that's why we wanted to bring this up in the final workshops that's there. And I'm not going to read through all of this because that's the type of information you're collecting, whether it's their contact information, their demographics, why they're staying with you, what their social media likes, all of those different things, and any additional services or any additional linkages that they have with you. So it's really important going ahead, and we'll be banging the drum about it as we touch base with you over the next few months about how you're using that data to maximize and the best benefit, because you've got it from different data points. I know some of you are gathering it on databases, an Excel spreadsheet, that's fine. Some of you have got a CRM system, but all of those give you different data points that you're capturing that information. The question is, what do you do with it, and how do you use it? And a simple thing, which is that, which is taken from the Future Learn, when actually saying, how are you using your data? What data? Ask yourself these questions when over the next few weeks, when you're beginning to look at your planning activity, what you're thinking and doing. What data do you have and use? what data do I have but could use more, and what data do you not have that you'd like more of? So when you've answered those three questions, what does it tell you? So does it tell you where they're coming from, what their likes are, what their buying habits are, what it is you need to do to tailor your products? How easy is it to work with that data for you to send that information out? Could it tell you more? How efficient are your processes? And we're great believers in making sure you've got the right systems and processes in place. And many of you have moved to online booking and you're taking full payments and everything up front. You're capturing that data. That's an improved process and makes things a lot easier for you. And where can you get more data from? How can you work more to do that? And actually, that point is then, do you need more training? And we're not in commission for Future Learn. It's just a really good scene setter in terms of how it helps you understand more to using data more effectively in your business. But why be data driven? It'll help you identify any growth opportunities. Sarah was talking there about, she's got international visitors coming, and Rona backed up and saying, well, the Europeans come back more. So you can see that as an opportunity to target specific countries and the segment you want to go for. It can help you drive innovation, operate more effectively in terms of risk and managing new ways to operate, and helps you create the tools and developing your culture and your business. It's about acting on that data. It's what, I remember from the hotel business, we pre-computer, we had masses of data because it's legislation, guests have got to register with you. We never really did anything with that data. We said, thank you very much, and put it to the side. Now it moved on and it's all captured electronically and it's into databases. It makes it much more easier to manipulate and actually target and your propositions going out there. And it's not about coming up with new ideas. It's actually just, what have you got, and making that right move to make it things that you've got better that's out there. And as I'm saying there, in Napier University, Understanding Data and Tourism Industry is a really good course, and you can spread out over your time over the evening, over a number of weeks, and that's the web link that's there. And one of the reasons why, I'm just stop sharing my screen now. One of the reasons that we've got Sarah with us here to present is because when I did the data and tourism, I was trying to figure out when I did it. I think it was the first lockdown. I just how many years ago was that? I don't know. And Sarah presented on a video that she was how she was using data in her business, and I think it was a really practical and pragmatic approach, and because a lot of people get scared of data. Oh my goodness, what do I do with it? And then the dreaded GDPR comes into it. But if you've got that data and you've captured it in terms of managing your business, it can really begin to help and collaboratively in all those information is there. So that's me. That was just the intro to say why I think it's important. And Sarah's now going to pass over to Sarah. So thank you, Sarah.
Share my screen just to sort of do a wee wrap up now. Where are we? So, okay, in terms of obviously the program, we're 2 years into a 3-year program. We've delivered a number of workshops to, between 80 and 100 of sort of businesses. So I know that I'm still working with a number of you on your business improvement plans, and that is ongoing in terms of the support that you'll have over the next 12 months. There's also some benchmarking data that we're back to data again. This is data that I need just to sort of create some metrics to show what's been happening within the sector through challenging times, because obviously, the sales pictures have been different, jobs pictures have been different in terms of the challenges of recruiting staff, but I'm obviously catching up with you with that. The one-to-one support will continue. I'm in the process of just sort of finishing off a series of one-to-ones over the next couple of months, and we'll be light touch through the summer, but we'll probably pick up with you again at the back end of the year in terms of just starting your thinking for season 2023. So that support is there, and I've always said to everybody who have been engaging with the one-to-ones on a sort of proactive basis, myself and Stuart are always here in the background in terms of just being that sounding board. If you've got something you just want to have a chat with us about, And it's encouraging, you know, when we do have these conversations about some of the emerging things that you've been up to over the last sort of 12 months. As was mentioned there, the digital reviews, I know a number have taken place. You know, we have mentioned it on a number of occasions. If it's something you wish to take up, it's definitely a great little 10-point checklist that enables you to start making some actions within your digital arena and things that you may need to spend some time and get focused on. I just appreciate now that the last few months was the time to get a lot of these things done, because I appreciate now that people are starting to, you know, get busier and get ready. Easter's 3 weeks away now, or 4 weeks away. I know that bookings have been healthy, coming in faster than and a higher volume than normal, which is really encouraging. We're just delighted for the space this year after what's happened in the last couple of years. So there will be that sort of ongoing support. Obviously, a lot of the things that we've been sort of pulling out in the one-to-ones in terms of yourselves at the coalface, because we've got a year to go, we'll probably be in some sort of discussion with Seb, who I think is still with us, in terms of our annual report for this year. And there's been some emerging potential projects that I think we might want to have discussions with High and see if we can run maybe some pilots or look to do something. I'm not saying we will, but this is just some of the emerging things that have come out. The digital support, yes, there is a lot of advice out there. There's lots of webinars and seminars, but I think one of the things we had picked up was very much about that focused one-to-one support. Like, take me through a process where I can take my data or use market research data, how I can then put that together into, you know, a targeted campaign to Gen Zs who live in the southeast of England, and how I can then put some paid advertising together and get that click through in terms of a revenue generate for your business. It's more that real hands-on how to do it, but also then to get that transfer of skills across. And whether it's yourself or engaging with a team member who's maybe got that social media experience and are able to continue to do these things for you. So that's something that's emerged. There's been a lot of talk about matching up potential freelancers with operators, especially when things get busy. You know, there's a bigger supply of, especially last year, consumers and operators struggled to satisfy demand. So there was maybe chats about having some sort of portal where freelancers could, you know, let the market know when they're available, what their sort of credentials are, and maybe get some sort of marrying up in terms of plugging some of the gaps there. We've talked a lot about ongoing sort of coming together, because obviously collaboration, networking, building relationships with your cohorts is something that has been really important. We've obviously been disappointed we've not been able to deliver a lot of these workshops in situ. We've had to use technology. It's made life a lot easier from a time point of view and a carbon footprint point of view, but there's nothing like being in a room with somebody and going for a coffee and having a chat and getting that in-person relationship building. And that's something you've all been talking about. So we're having maybe some thoughts about how we do that. There was also maybe something about a portal about actually having little 30-second elevators for each of the participants in the program, because again, it's maybe not been as, the synergies have maybe not been there because we've not been in person in terms of knowing who everybody is and what everybody's doing. But I know there has been a number of collaborations and discussions have been taking place behind the scenes in terms of people working together. So that's really encouraging. So for us, it's really just food for me and Stuart to feed that back into Highlands and Islands Enterprise and just see, and with Visit Scotland, and see if there's anything we can maybe do over the next 12 months as little catalysts for things and keeping that momentum going with the 100 businesses we're working with. So that's just to sort of like really just sort of say that there in terms of that's what we're looking to hopefully do. It's been a great 2 hours. It's flown in. I'd just like to thank our speakers this afternoon from Visit Scotland. Steve obviously has left us. That was, you know, the input from Steve is brilliant. And Rowan and Angie, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. I appreciate everybody's really busy and there's a lot on as we get ready for the season ahead. So thank you very much for your contribution and all your input. Also to Sarah, inspirational Sarah, a lot to think about there. And thanks for just taking the time to just share your experiences of using data with Scott Beers. That's been fantastic. And Stuart as well for his sort of overview of data. Thanks for that, Stuart. That's really is it from this afternoon. The people who are getting the one-to-ones, know that, you know, I'm in touch with you, and I'm chasing people for one-to-ones as usual. I know the diaries are filling up, but I will be in touch with people over sort of the rest of this month and into April to sort of catch up with you. And that's really for this afternoon, unless there's any final questions that Emdy's got. I'll just stop sharing my screen. And I'll put that up there. So that, as I say, that's us. Emdy, get anything they just want to say? There's a little chat from my hero, Kev. Thank you, Kev. What's he said tonight? Superb afternoon. Thank you very much, Stuart and Fergus. Thank you, Kev. You're a great advocate of us. I'm sure they're all thinking we give you a tenner every week but you always give us some great praise, and it's nice to get that, because sometimes we're working in a bit of a funnel, because, you know, I'm just sitting in my little flat here, and you don't really know how it's been delivered. So thank you very much. So if there's no other questions, thank you for your time, and I'll see a number of you soon with the one-to-ones, and all the best for the season ahead. I think the general consensus is that it's going to hopefully be another great season. So, you know, look after your customers, give them a fantastic experience, so when they're going to tell all their friends and family about Scotland, and get the money into the bank to pay off the debt if you've had to take on debt, because sometimes people forget about the realities at the coalface. So we need the money coming into the bank accounts this year. I know that for sure. Thank you.